Hello and welcome to My Retired Life. I am Scott, like I was in the last video. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about finances, and before we even go any further, I'm not a financial advisor. Please check with your financial advisor because this advice worked for me. This is my experience, not anything I'm recommending. It worked for me because when you're talking about financial advice, there are so many variables that you have to assess the whole situation. And for me to assess the whole situation of yours or your financial dreams or wants, I can't do that. Registered financial advisor. There's a lot of advisors that aren't registered. Please check for a registered. So this is what this video is about. I was asked in a comment to comment on CPP. As you're working in Canada, they take taxes off of you and put it into a pension plan. The government does. And this is for when you retire, you can withdraw your pension from that every month. So it's like a unaware of pension plan that you're building, but you're paying for it. Don't ever think that anything the government gives you haven't paid for. You have. What it is you've contributed through your working life and now you're ready to retire. Now the rules with the CPP, Canada Pension Plan, that's it, CPP. Duh, it's back. Anyway, the CPP, Canada Pension Plan, is much like the Social Security in the United States. So they compare. The rules for the ones in the US are just slightly different than what they are for Canada. And again, you check with a planner if you're watching this in the US. But in Canada, we can take that Canada Pension Plan anytime after 60 years old. Most people that retire at 65 take it at 65 with something called the OAS, which is old age security. In Canada, we have a separate old age security plan. Now, if you have a pension and you make a lot of money, then your OAS gets clawed back. Your old age security gets clawed back, and then you don't get it at all. And for some people, that's unfair, and other people, it's the rich helping the poorer people with no pension plan or old age security. It's something that Canada has offered all the time. And you get that at 65. You can't take that before 65. You have to take it at 65 or later. Now, the later you wait, the more money you get from the government. But the problem with waiting later, much like CPP, Canada Pension Plan, is if you wait too long, what happens to your health? Right? There's a balance when you take the Canada Pension Plan and Social Security. And I'm pretty sure in the United States, just like Canada, that if you take your Social Security at 65, you get more than when you take it at 62, because at 62 you're penalized such a percentage. That's how it works in Canada as well. If you want to take your CPP at 60, say, you could still be working and still take your CPP, but you'll get a much lower amount as opposed to waiting till 65, 67, or 70. Some people wait till 70 and then they get a big payout. The problem with that and the balance with which we're going to talk about right now is your health, your life expectancy, right? And your finances. They all mesh in. Now for me, and I'm going to share my experience with CPP. I took my Canada Pension Plan at 62 and a half. Now, I retired at 55. So I went 7.5 years without collecting any government pension. It was my own pension that I did retire at 55 with. So you guys can judge on your own financial terms. I was lucky. I had a pension plan. And I said to my wife, I want to retire at 55, but it'll be tough between 55 and 65 because at 60 you could take your CPP and you get your OAS. So that's like 2 big bonus checks at 65 if I would have waited till 65. Does that make sense? I chose not to take my CPP till 62 and a half. So I won't be penalized as much as if I took it at 60. I took it at 62 and a half years old, as opposed to 65, where I would get the full benefit of that plan. Now, there's so many factors, right? I had a pension, so I was okay. I still got to do everything I wanted on my pension. At 62 and a half, I took it not because of my health or because of my pension. We were doing fine on my pension, my own pension. The problem was, at what point do you need the money? So I took it at 62 and a half, so I could have a little bit more money to spend right now. It just worked out financially for me. For many people, they have to wait till they're 65 to retire because they depend in Canada and in the United States with Social Security. They have to wait to 65 to get the full benefit of the Social Security, or in Canada, the CPP and the old age security. So these are things that you have to factor in. If your health is going, take it at 60. Take it with a penalty, because you're not going to be able to spend it anyway if your health is going. It's just going to accumulate. So you got to really rationalize what you want with your finances, what your goals are. My goals was to retire early so I've had 10 years, 11 starting next month when I turn 66. I've had 10 years, almost 11 years retired now. Awesome. Now, last year my old age kicked in at 65. I could have waited till I was 70 and then got more, but who knows if I'm going to be healthy at 70? I don't know. Do you? So these are things that you have to factor in. You have to factor in your health. You have to factor in your finances and what you've done to prepare for retirement. Or are you going to live off your Social Security and or OAS and CPP in Canada? These are all things that are tough decisions to make. I was very fortunate. I made my own retirement plan. I made my own pension. The Canada stuff, the old age security and CPP were all benefits. But make no mistake about it, you paid into CPP, so that's your money. Now, old age security in Canada is a different ball of wax. Any government could cut that out or drop it. CPP, they can't, because that's your money. You've paid into that, you're entitled to that. But old age security, like, they could drop that like that and pass a bill in Parliament. Same with Social Security in the United States. Now, I'm not as familiar with Social Security. I imagine you're paying into it as well, but they could claw it back. If my pension was too high, my old age security check would be clawed back. Now, I've got other investments I haven't even touched yet. As soon as I start touching those investments, they're going to claw back my old age security. I'm playing a game, right? With numbers. I'm playing a financial game. That's all there is to it. If I start drawing off my other pension, my private pension, as opposed to my company pension, now my salary goes up, my taxable income goes up, and so does that number where you can't go past, or you're going to get dinged and lose some of your benefits. So you have to play a numbers game depending on your financial situation. But the most important thing is your health. If you don't have your health, money is not going to go with you anywhere. It might pay the bills. It might pay, in the United States, some of your medical bills because it's quite expensive. In Canada, it's covered. Again, everybody that thinks in Canada that your health care is free, it's not. You've been paying taxes all your life for that plan. So anybody outside of the US that thinks it's free, they're wrong. You've been paying for it in your taxes. We are taxed heavily, much more than the United States. So you have to make sure your health is there. If without your health, money is no good to you. It just doesn't help. When I'm 80 years old, I know I'm not going to need as much money as I do now. Because I'm doing things now. I'm enjoying retirement. And that's why in early retirement, you have to do things then when you're in health, when your health is good. Excuse me. You got to do it when you're well. I'm a big advocate of retiring early if you can, or the earliest that you can. For those two reasons. For the one reason, actually, is health. Because health, if you don't have it, you can't do it. Whether you're into traveling, gardening, or whatever you're into, without your health, the money doesn't help. If you can't bend down to pull a plant or a weed, your money is only going to buy a gardener for you to do it, right? If you can't travel because you're in a wheelchair, or you can't barely walk, or you have a sore back when you're 70 years old, money's not going to help you. You just won't travel. You've got to take it as a common sense approach, but you have to take it from a multi-prong approach. Finances, health. Is your house paid off? You know, you got to take, do you have a new car? Do you have car payments? You got to take everything into a factor financially when you're retiring. But CPP, if you take it at 60, you're going to get penalized. It'll be a lot less than if you take it at 65. So again, you have to decide if you're going to wait till 65 and get the maximum out of it, or if you're financially tight, you're going to have to do that with that and old age security or Social Security. I was very fortunate. I made some good investments with U.S. property. I made some good investments on the side with my private money, and I had a company pension. And not everybody has that. I know that. So I was very, very lucky to get where I am today. I retired at 55. I took my pension at 62 and a half, and 66 I took old age security. But if I had it taken from my private pension at the same time, and in time I'm going to have to do that, but I'd rather do it when I can't do things. There's a line in the tax form that you have to stay below to qualify for old age security, and that's what I'm doing. I'm staying below that line, because once you go over that line, you're not going to see it. You'll see CPP and your Canada pension plan, but other than that, you have to make the decision on what's right for you. But 60, you're going to get charged a penalty. 62 and a half, where I took it, I got charged the penalty. And 65, if I would have waited, I would have got the maximum benefit. So you have to play based on your wants, your needs. If you're traveling everywhere, are you going to travel at 65 and you're not going to retire to 65? Great. You're going to maximize your benefits. But if you believe like I do and want to retire at 55 or 60 even, you have to really take into consideration the hit you're going to take on your Canada pension plan. Now again, please check with a financial advisor, because they know what's best for you. I don't know what's best for you. Sometimes even the financial planners don't know what's best for you. You have to explain to them what's best for you. This is what I want. And you tell them, make it happen. And they'll say, well, you can't make it happen. And this is the reason why, from a financial point of view. But your needs might not need that money. So retirement is so many factors into it. And this, I can't iterate it enough. Every situation is unique. Yours is unique, mine is unique, and you have a unique retirement. Nobody's retirement is ever the same. Nobody. Because of the financials and the health and everything else. You might live in a 4,000 square foot house. Somebody might live in a 400 square apartment. You don't know. So your costs are going to be different, right? Anyway, that's enough financial talk. Again, please check with a financial advisor for you. I'm not a financial advisor. I can give you my experience, which I just shared with you. And I didn't share my numbers. That's private information, but I shared what I did. Hopefully it helps. And until we meet again, check out this video or this video, and let's call this one. Did you like the birds in the background? I did. Let's call this one done.